All right, so we got our test print here for the sake of demonstration. So again, I'm going to feed this forward past the cut line. So with the D-pad arrow down, I'm going to feed it forward. If I am doing a plot cut file, I like to feed it at least maybe 6 inches past the cut line, because I have to give the rollers, the pinch rollers on the graphtec plotter over there that we're cutting with, I have to give it some extra material for the rollers to grab onto. That may not make sense, but kind of when you see it happening, it should. So long story short, I'm going to roll this forward about 6 inches. That's good. So again, I'm going to take my knife, slide it into the slot here. I got one hand here holding it so it just doesn't drop and hit the floor. Then I'm going to take my material. We're going to pretend that I laminated this, but it's not laminated for display purposes, but you will always laminate anything printed. So we're going to pretend I laminated this. We're headed over to the graphtec plotter. And I'm going to load this up. So I have my pinch rollers here. Each of these rollers has to be over top of one of these, I guess you would call it stations or contact points. Okay. So you're limited with these, like they have to be over that specific one. But this one on the far right, you have some flexibility to move it based on the width of your material and how wide you're cutting your crop marks. So the widest we can normally cut on this plotter, given 53 inches of material, is about 48 inches max. So this is well under 48. So my pinch rollers are good, okay? They're in the right spot. What I don't want to have is, I don't want to have a pinch roller here, the pinch roller there, okay? Because the plotter is going to take a measurement and assume that this is the maximum amount of space it has to cut. Therefore, it's not going to read anything outside of this last roller. So my last roller needs to be as far over as it can be while still making contact with the material. And then as far as these two, I try to like evenly balance them out in the middle somehow. So that's fine right there. That's fine right there. Now, you can't have it just completely cockeyed. It's got to be fairly straight. So what I like to do is, set that there for a second. I got two tricks, I'm gonna call it that. You can take a squeegee, or if you have fingernails, you can use your fingernails. But these crop marks, the bottom of these, need to be straight and almost lined up with this, I guess you would call it groove going all the way across. So I'll take my fingernails here and kind of feel for the edge of those. And I can feel it kind of fall into that groove. Or if you don't have fingernails, that's fine. You can kind of feel it with your squeegee here. So that feels like it's right there in that groove. This one feels like it's right there in that groove. So once you get it there, I'll just kind of inchworm my hand over while still holding the material in place so it doesn't slide out of place. And there's a lever back here that I need to lift up so it pinches the rollers down to grab the material, and that activates the knife blade to take its measurement of the total width of material. So it's going to do its thing. And once it stops, we can position the blade, and the blade always has to be in the lower right crop mark corner. So just like we had a D-pad on the printer over there, we've got a D-pad here. So I'm going to feed it forward. That's going to feed the material, and This moves the material. This moves your material forward and backwards. This moves your blade left to right. So I'm going to move my material forward here to find those crop marks. Okay. Now I'm going to move it over to the left. All right. And I want to position. I want to position the corner of this corner right here. I want to position that to match up to this corner if I'm looking straight down. So I'm going to slide over so I can see it, and then I'll let you hold the camera over top so you can see where it should be. And I'm just tapping this just to get it close. Because once you have it in the ballpark or somewhere close, you'll tap it just so it moves it ever so slightly. Okay, so what I do is I'll close one eye and I'll look straight down in there. There's like the blade. And you can kind of see it's almost like a bullseye. It's kind of hard to see, but if you're looking straight down and that circle is lined up perfect inside of here, and this right here on the corner is lined up with this down here. Yep, right there. If you're looking straight down, that's lined up, or if you're somewhere in the neighborhood and you're pretty darn close, that's good enough. So once you do that, if you have a long print that's going backwards, you'll pull this out so it's not hitting the floor. But because this is such a small print, you can leave this back. But we'll just say, just for the sake of getting used to the habit, pull this out so it catches the material. So we now got it into position, and we're going to walk back over to cut. All right, so we've got a little bit of a unique setup here. Some people are like, oh, you could save time by doing it on the Wi-Fi, this, that, and the other. Well, the internet and Wi-Fi in this area are kind of wonky from time to time. So we just, transfer files via flash drive. So this specific station is not directly hooked up to the plotter. So I need to take my file from here. I'm just going to put it on a flash drive. All right, my USB popped up, and I'm going to go to the original file. So I'm in the original file in Flexi. I'm going to do a file, save as. I got my flash drive, and I'm saving that file to the USB. Save it. Okay, I've minimized these windows. There it is on the USB. I can just directly pull it out. And then in the other station here to the left, I am going to insert it into that computer, and now it pops up on this one. The reason we're using this is because this computer, this version of Flexi, is directly hooked up with a USB cable that's really long, running from here all the way over there. It's hooked up to our plotter. So what we're going to do is we're essentially going to pretend we're sending it so we can generate the cut file. So I'm going to go to File. I'm in Flexi. File, open. I'm going to find my flash drive. Here's my file, open. Since we saved it, it's already got the crop mark, so we don't need to add the contour cut again. It's already there. One way you can see is if you hit the printer, it's there. Now, again, you got several options here. We don't want to print it again. We already sent it. So the trick that we're doing here is, instead of going to send now, I'm going to hold in list. Okay, so it's not going to send it to the printer. It's just going to hold it in the print queue. And I'm going to go to send and done. Minimize that window. I'm going to open up my production manager, and here is the file. It never got printed, and each of these tabs is a representation of whatever equipment is programmed into the production manager. So we got the Epson 4600, the Espon 6600, and we got the graphtec FC9000, which is what we're cutting on. That's our large plotter. So when we click on that tab, we can see it generated the cut file for those numbers. I'm just going to double click on this. I'm clicking on the third tab, the knife. I'm going to go to edit. And again, you can preset all this stuff. This is just how we do it, just given the amount of time we have because we're busy. I'm sure somebody may see this and go, oh, there's such an easier way to do that. That's no problem. This video is not for you. This video is for somebody who does not have any experience and doesn't know what they're doing. Later on, you can look. There's so many gimmicks and tricks and shortcuts to streamline things, but this is just how we do it for now here today. Next year, it could be completely different, but anyways, so I've got this pre-selected. The speed, I like to have my knife at a slower pace. I really don't prefer to move too fast to where it's almost ripping the material. So I prefer to have it around, let's say 12. My pressure normally, 99% of the time, if it's laminated, it's going to be 22, 23 for my knife pressure. But because I didn't laminate it, I'm just going to say 18 for my pressure. I don't really mess with the acceleration because I don't need it to accelerate a whole lot. I don't mess with these at all. I really don't jack with these. They do have shortcuts and presets you can make if you want to get into all that. That's somewhere down the line. You can find it online. But I'm gonna, once I've got these numbers plugged in, I'm gonna hit apply and OK, and that disappears. Then I'm gonna hit send. Then you're gonna see a window pop up for confirmation. Oh, wait. Sometimes you'll get can't open port. So that means maybe the plug or something got hit. So this is a good example. I'm glad this happened. Cannot open port means that connection from here to the plotter, something's off. So I can guarantee that the USB cord got kicked. So we're going to walk over here. When I was moving this, it probably got kicked. Yep, sure did. So this actually came unplugged. So all I'm going to do is just plug it back in. Because it's so far apart from the computer, we got an extender. So I'm just literally plugging it back in. That'll happen sometimes. You know, it is what it is. Okay, so I got that plugged in. We're going to send this again one more time. And let's say you're cutting multiples of these. Let's say you got, somebody's like, I want 10 sets of 1 through 5. You can send the same cut file over and over and over again and not have to program the pressure and the speed setting. So I'm just going to select this, and again, I'm going to hit send. Okay, and there, that's what we want. This window's got to pop up. It will not cut until you confirm that the media is loaded and the knife blade is over that crop mark in the lower right hand corner when we were lining it up. So we've already done that. We hit OK. And then we'll walk over to the plotter because it's about to start cutting. So what it's doing is it's reading all of the crop marks so it can get the best accurate cut. It already did that before we had a chance to walk over here, and now it's actually cutting the numbers. All right, so it is finished. Once it's done, I've got to lower the lever so it releases the pinch rollers, and this is going to pop up. So just count, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. That'll pop up, and then you can slide this out of the way manually and pull your cut off. take it to one of the production tables. And I've seen guys do, I guess you would call them production boxes, where it kind of pre-cuts the boxes for weeding out. I'm just used to doing it by hand with a really light cut, so I don't cut through the material, but I just, make a light cut. So I'm used to pulling up the material without cutting all the way through the backing. So just taking my blade here, give a nice clean cut. And the way you know you got a clean cut was if it pulled the material off without lifting up the letters or numbers, but it didn't cut all the way through the backing. And then again, when we did that setting where we told it to cut with holes, if you forget to do that, this wouldn't be cut out, but we remember to do that, so it comes right out. There's that. And that, and then you can apply your masking, and then install it on the wall, the glass, vehicle, whatever you're gonna do. But that is pretty much it.